my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be comparing two HRT companies that are making a pretty big splash in the industry for women 35 plus who are looking to try hormone replacement therapy. HRT was kind of stigmatized for a very long time. However, over the past few years, it has come out that it can really help women who are dealing with all kinds of hormonal issues, from PCOS, endometriosis, to perimenopause, menopause, and everything in between. If you guys have been following me for a while, then you may know that I already tried Winona, which is a company that I have been familiar with for years. Last year, almost about a year ago, I decided I wanted to give HRT a try. Found out that I was a candidate. I had just turned 35 and was just dealing and struggling with a lot of hormone related issues. I do also have PCOS. So I tried Winona. I have a full review of that on my channel. I will leave it down in the description box for you, the link for that. But I was given their 50-50 cream, which is estrogen and progesterone, as well as DHEA capsules to take together in order to see symptom relief. I won't get too far in the weeds as to what happened when I took these products, used these products. But overall, I had a really good experience with Winona. However, in today's video, I'm going to compare Winona to Inner Balance. Inner Balance is kind of a newer company, definitely newer to me, but something I keep seeing cropping up. And I actually had one of my clients mention to me that they had seen commercials for it, and they were interested in hearing about what I thought about HRT in general, and then HRT from Inner Balance. So of course, I did a deep dive into Inner Balance. And honestly, I'm comparing it to Winona because they have a lot in common, but there's also some pretty big differences. So I thought I would kind of chat through that with you guys. So both offer HRT for women over 35 for the most part. It's kind of like the parameters. And they have different methods of doing so. With Winona, they have several different creams and products. They also have patches. Like I said, I got the 50-50 cream. I think that is their most prescribed cream. And that's estrogen and progesterone. They have a few other products as well. And then they also do the DHEA added on to pretty much, I would say almost, as far as I've seen, they pretty readily prescribe DHEA to go alongside their progesterone creams. So that's very common for Winona. Winona's process is they do not do lab work. They don't require you to have labs, anything like that. They treat based on symptoms. So you come to them, fill out their quiz, you tell them what you're experiencing, what your symptoms are. If you're approved, they go ahead and send you kind of like their standard dose. You start taking it, you're consistent with it, and then you can make tweaks and changes by speaking with your doctor and care team throughout the process. And that's how they tweak things, but they do not rely on labs. Now, this is kind of controversial. Some women are like, I need my lab work done. I want to know exactly what's needed for my body, things like that. I'll tell you from my experience, I had done all of the labs. I had done a bunch of like holistic hormone testing, all the things prior to coming to Winona. I actually asked the Winona doctor, could you review my labs? Could you let me know what you think? Do you, based on this, do you still think, the recommended medications that you're giving me, are they still a good match? And honestly, he was willing to look at them, but basically more or less dismissed them, saying that these lab tests, especially when it comes to hormones, can be pretty off because our hormones fluctuate day by day, hour by hour, week by week. And so you're really just catching like a snapshot in any given moment, but they're fluctuating constantly. So it's just not a good picture. I see this as a positive for, the hundreds of thousands of women who know in their bones that something is going on with their body. They know changes are happening, but they go and they get their standard blood test from their provider and they're told, nope, you're good. We don't see any problems. And then they're just left to deal with symptoms. Winona kind of, believes that, they take the we believe you approach. We believe in the symptoms that you're having, and we're going to treat you for them based on how you're telling us you feel. So that's Winona's approach. They actually have one of the most affordable HRT options at $89 a month. I believe it's $89 a month for this cream, and then this was $27 every 3 months, billed every 3 months, so very inexpensive. $89 a month for HRT is very good, and it's definitely one of the lowest prices I've seen in the industry. So comparing them to Inner Balance, Inner Balance is very similar in their approach. They don't do lab testing. They take your symptoms and they determine whether or not you're going to be a good fit for their products. And their product, they have one signature product. It's called Oestra, and that is actually a vaginal cream. So with Winona, most of their creams are topical, where you apply to like your forearm. So anywhere that there's not hair on your body, you can apply the cream. Usually you do it like before bed, so it can, you're kind of like, it's kind of soaking in all night. With Inner Balance, they take the same approach to treatment and prescribing, but they only have one product. It's Oestra. It is a progesterone and estrogen cream. Same thing across the board, safe, all natural, all the things. But they kind of use that as like their treatment method, and they suggest that the vaginal application is significantly more effective for absorption and getting into your bloodstream than like a regular topical cream. Obviously, I'm not sure how valid that is or not, but they do provide a really compelling argument for that. Very similar to Winona, like I said, in their prescription of things. You take their quiz, you tell them your symptoms, and they prescribe based on your symptoms. Again, they also just kind of give you their standard dose, and then you report back, you check in with the doctor, how you're feeling, things like that, and it's compounded medication, so they can tweak it and make sure that it is optimized for you and your needs. So very similar approach. The biggest difference is with Winona, there's several different treatment options that you can get. With Inner Balance, they have one signature product. It's Oestra. The other big difference is Winona very readily will prescribe DHEA. DHEA is supposed to help bring up testosterone levels in women. They, according to Winona, and this is coming from my conversations with my Winona doctor, they prescribe it in a small enough dose that would mitigate any negative effects, but help boost your testosterone naturally. Inner Balance takes a different approach. They do not recommend DHEA, stating that there are negative side effects with that. Again, both parties kind of have their compelling reasons why. And my biggest piece of advice would be to do your research, ask questions. That's what I did with Winona. I asked a lot of questions. I continue to do so, even as I was researching Winona versus Inner Balance. I got in with my Winona doctor because I have an account with them, and I can ask them questions and they will answer me back, which is very nice. I'm sure Inner Balance is the same way. I didn't actually purchase from them and make an account. I went through their quiz, got approved, all that stuff, but I didn't move any further because I'm not actually looking to start their medication. Overall, I think both brands are doing amazing things for women. One thing about Winona, again, that I really love is they have a giant community online. So you can join their Winona community at any time, even before you're a patient, and just kind of get in there and see what women are saying. I actually just saw a testimonial yesterday specific to DHEA, saying like she was only doing the DHEA, and the changes and the symptom relief that she's seen since starting that had been massive. And I'm sure there's other sides that are saying, I felt terrible on the DHEA. It's all very dependent. So do your research, reach out to these companies, ask them questions. I had a really good experience with Winona. I find it to be very affordable. Neither one, Winona or Inner Balance, take insurance. So it's an out-of-pocket thing. Maybe your HSA could pick it up. But again, $89 a month for Winona. I believe Inner Balance for the Oestra cream was $199 a month for the first 6 months. And then at month 7 and beyond, it goes down to, it was a little bit less, I don't remember the exact number, but it does decrease after month 6. So it is a little bit more money. Again, they claim it is more effective, so that is something to consider. I didn't see any kind of online community for Inner Balance and Oestra, which I personally like when there's a community and you can actually see real testimonials from real women who are taking these products, and then you can kind of form, ask questions, form opinions, things like that. But that's my little overview of Inner Balance and Winona. I hope that this helped you in a little bit as you, if you are considering one of these two companies for HRT. Both good options, both operate pretty similarly, but they have just different approaches to things, so definitely something to look into. I will leave links down in the description box for both companies. And then if you guys ever have any questions or want to leave me any feedback, if you've tried either company, feel free to leave it down in the comments and let's have a conversation.